So I'm here representing Fresh Coast Capital. I'm the Director of Ecosystem Services there, and I'm one of two other co-founders, 3 in total, who started this company about 2 years ago, and we're based in Chicago. So just a quick overview of the company before I get into an overview of some of our projects. We are a project development firm and an impact investing firm. We have this environmental and social mission that's really at the core of everything that we do. And that mission is to revitalize urban communities through innovative and sustainable investment solutions. So to do this, we finance hybrid poplar tree farms and revenue-generating working landscapes. That's what we call these hybrid poplar farms in the communities that are really hardest hit with demographic trends of the post-industrial era. So. What I'm going to go through now are 2 case studies, one in the form of some slides, and then I'll finish up with a video. The first is about Gary, Indiana, which is one of the first 2 cities that we planted our tree farms in, and the second is Flint, Michigan. And throughout both of these, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the strategies that sort of cross-cut all the different cities that we work in. You'll also see the importance of the community outreach aspect and the social impact work of what we do. And you'll also see kind of a different flavor, although the work is fundamentally the same as everything that everyone has been talking about. We sort of put a community-facing face on what we do. So just quickly about Gary, probably for many of you in the room, within your lifetime, the city has drastically shrunk in its population and available jobs. And you can see the result of that in the before and after here. Those decades of decline have given the city a lot of blight, and the city then has demolished a lot of these old vacant homes, commercial properties, et cetera. And that is fortunate in many ways. The city is fortunate in many ways that they now have this blight removed, but now they have the problem of 7,000 vacant parcels across that one city. And with really no budget to maintain those. There's also then, of course, problems with crime, dumping, pollution, which is what sort of the core of our work grew out of, and then mental and physical health outcomes. This then happens in many, many, many other cities across the region. So let me just pull up some notes here. So when myself and my 2 co-founders started looking at this problem, we realized that the problem of brownfields, the problem of vacant land, can actually be an asset for the cities that we partner with. And so what we do is we go into those cities, and on those vacant sites, we site these hybrid poplar tree farms and other working landscapes. And this picture, by the way, is sort of a nice real-time example of before and after. The top part is Detroit and an area that's been mostly demolished, former residential neighborhood, and the bottom is a nearby suburb. Okay, so here are some of our overall strategies, and I'm going to talk to you about 2 of them today, the hybrid poplar tree farms, and then the expansion of those tree farms into stormwater management and green infrastructure. But we also sort of take this broad portfolio approach in the cities that we work with. The first project type are these tree farms managing vacancy and contaminants too. We're really careful when we work with our city partners, and particularly in the residential neighborhoods, to make sure that we're talking about revitalization and not necessarily remediation. And what we do, we go into a city like Gary, Indiana. That was one of the first farms that we planted last spring with along with Flint. And we contract with the city for about 15 years, which coincides both with the growth harvest cycle of the hybrid poplar. It also is fortunate for us, sort of the interim term horizon that a lot of urban planners look at when they're looking at how to shrink and reimagine a city. And so it's really been an asset for us to be able to work within that time frame. We work to privately to connect to impact investors and fully fund these projects at the onset, including long-term maintenance and local hiring. And then, of course, there's the hybrid poplars that are the main feature of these sites, which remediate and revitalize the soil health and water. And we do this both in known brownfields and sites that are blighted, vacant, possibly contaminated, but not designated as such. The second project type is green infrastructure, where we work with engineering firms to do both traditional green infrastructure and vacant land, blight, brownfield remediation, all as part of this overall portfolio. So just quick to kind of give you a summary of what we've done this year. I talked about the Flint and Gary farms. Now we have 7 cities in total that we've contracted with across the Midwest, about 70 acres under contract or already installed between those 7 cities in total. And then I mentioned this earlier a little bit, but there's also this component of, because we bring in this private capital and there's this long-term then funding for these projects, there's the interest and the capability to hire locally where we can for maintenance contracts and to make sure that the trees are taken care of over their entire lifetime. There's also the component of revenue generation, which can then accrue back to, depending on how we set up a project, investors, the city itself, or even in some cases, the community. So here are just some renderings of 1-year, 5-year, and 10-year illustrations of sample projects, and it really, I think, shows the care that we take to work with the local community to make sure that they see these spaces as both working landscapes that will one day be harvested, but also park-like in the interim. And I think for anyone that's spent any time in the cities that we're talking about, the psychology there is a little different from a neighborhood that might be, fully lived in. So it's a lot of excitement. So to wrap up, I saved myself some time. I want to just show you a video. This is a quick overview of Fresh Coast, and you're going to meet in it one of my other co-founders. You'll also cameo by Judd, and these trees were put in last spring.
The city of Flint was a manufacturing town, it was a General Motors town. And as General Motors started to downsize and started to move out, we started to see a decline in revenue.
Flint is somewhere the population now 90 to 80,000. We used to have that many people working at just the plants in Flint.
A lot of people lost jobs, and a lot of the industry left behind vacant and contaminated properties. Fresh Coast looks at properties that other people see as blighted and overgrown and contaminated, and we see the opportunity here to create something that is beautiful and productive and uplifts the community. Hybrid poplar trees are extraordinary in that they are a proven way to naturally clean up contamination in soil and groundwater, and they're used on some of the most polluted sites in the country. The hybrid poplar is also extraordinary from a stormwater perspective because it takes up 3 times the amount of water as your average tree takes up. And so as increasingly intense storms are coming to the Midwest, these trees will be able to help cities that have aging infrastructure and don't have the capacity to build out new infrastructure to handle that stormwater. Planting the hybrid poplars creates a commercially viable use for the properties immediately, and we'll be able to farm the trees and harvest them after 12 to 15 years to make lots of different products. In addition to that, because the hybrid poplars are improving the quality of the soil and the groundwater, we're actually improving the value of the land. And so in 12 to 15 years, perhaps this land that was once contaminated could now be used for agricultural activities or for long-term open space that the community can use.
The environment change can actually help produce change and kind of make some things happen.
It's going to enhance our community, enhance our city, and enhance the people in the community.
Divine Grace Ministry, Fresh Coast, the City of Flint, the Land Bank are all working together to repurpose the area. And I'm just excited about moving forward and seeing this project develop throughout the community.
People who would like to be a part of helping this expand can let us know that they would like us to come and do something similar in their own community. There are lots of cities that are dealing with these same kinds of issues that Fresh Coast can be a helpful partner to.
Great. So that's just something that we would show to a community member, somebody interested in Fresh Coast, and I hope gives a flavor of how we communicate what we do.